However, shock froze me as the necklace was found in my room, in one of my drawers.
You steal now, Sally? Where did I go wrong with you?
I can't take this. I can't raise a thief. You're leaving my house today.
I cried and went on my knees, begging them desperately to not send me out. I'm not a thief. I didn't take her necklace. Believe me. Please, don't send me out. My pleas fell on deaf ears. Jake threw my things out and urged my parents to let me go. Of course, they weren't unwilling. I was sent out of my parents' home. Have you ever felt like the least favorite among your siblings? Or have you been shown by your parents that you're their least favorite child? How did it feel? I have experienced it, alongside hatred from my siblings, and I'll share it with you. My name's Sally, and I was born as the middle child. I had two siblings, Penny and Jake. Penny was 3 years younger than me, while Jake was 3 years older than me. My parents were quite wealthy. I mean, we had our own house, 2 cars, and they both ran a small company and a fashion brand. I couldn't remember my experiences before Penny was born, but I knew that as she grew, Jake liked her more. He would always hit and hurl insults at me on the slightest provocation, but Penny was his beloved sibling who didn't deserve any of that. Jake and Penny were very brilliant and would often top their various classes. I was brilliant too, but there was high competition in my class. I was always coming second or third, the top ones only having a slightly higher percentage than mine. But it didn't seem satisfactory to my parents.
They study well, that's why they're able to pass you. Study harder and top your class too. Your siblings do it so easily.
You're older than Penny, but your unseriousness is starting to make it appear the other way around. You should look up to Penny and Jake and learn from them.
I was a sensitive child. Words like that got to me, and it would make me cry. However, my family always got annoyed and called me a weakling. My parents will ignore all my birthdays, but will celebrate that of Penny and Jake, and will make me clean. After the celebration, according to them, I won't amount to anything, since I wasn't as intelligent as Penny and Jake. My parents were bad, but my siblings were insane, especially Jake. I had no idea what wrong I did to him. He was always so happy whenever he got me into trouble with either Penny or my parents. Once, I got mercilessly beaten up by Penny. I was 16 then, and she was only 13. I'd just had my bath after returning from school. As I went to sit at the dining table to enjoy my meal, Jake suddenly came up to me, wearing a devilish grin. "What do you want, Jake? I'm not in the mood for your annoyance, please. I'll appreciate it if you leave me alone now."
Oh, I'd actually come to tell you something important. But since you've asked me to leave, I have no choice.
I didn't say anything. I didn't even lift my eyes from my plate. He walked away laughing. I wondered what it was that he wanted to say. I became curious. The only time Jake ever came to me like that were times when he put me in trouble. Yes. Jake loved to see me getting punished. He would lie against me to my parents, and without asking for my side of the story, they would punish me. Jake was always at a corner, chuckling happily to himself. He also did it to Penny. He would lie about me saying something, and Penny, with her bad temper, would come and fight me. Penny had grown bigger than me. She would easily pass as my elder sister, and that made her even more comfortable bullying me. Whenever Jake liked to make Penny beat me up, he made sure my parents were going to return late so that I'd be asleep before their home. Just after I finished eating and attempted to stand up, 2 hands pressed on my shoulders, forcing me back to the chair. My heart raced. I knew it was Penny. No one else could do that. I turned and saw her behind me, holding a frown.
"How dare you? How dare you call me a fat pig in front of your friend?"
I didn't even have any friends, so how could I have said that about her? I tried to tell her what she heard was a lie. "I don't have any friends, Penny. I only speak to my classmates at school, and it's only a few of them. They sometimes don't even respond to me."
That lie isn't gonna work, Sally. You're a liar and a freaking pretender. All you do is hate on me and talk bad things about me because of your stupid jealousy.
I swear to you, Penny, I've never spoken ill of you to anyone.
You have. You always do. Jake tells me every time. Right, Jake?
Just then, Jake showed up again with a mischievous smile on his face.
Yes. I heard her on 2 different occasions. Her friends also told me. According to them, they felt sad for us because Sally's our sister, and all she does is badmouth us. Well, you especially.
Before I could speak, Penny slapped me. I screamed and fell to the floor, feeling the pain pierce my cheek. Tears quickly gathered in my eyes as I stared at them in disbelief. My own siblings. Jake is lying, Penny. I never said anything bad about you both. I don't have anyone to even say anything to.
Shut up, you liar. You're so filthy. I can see why Mom and Dad hate you. You're ugly, dull, and filled with jealousy and hatred for others. I'm going to make sure Mom and Dad punish you.
Next time, be careful of the things you say. It's unfair to speak so ill of people, especially your siblings.
I cried as I watched them walk away. I tried to go to my room, but I found out that they'd locked my door. I guess they needed it to be easier for my parents to punish me. And I sat down on the cold kitchen floor until my parents returned home. Once they settled in the living room, my siblings tabled their lies before them. The next thing I heard was my dad calling my name loudly. Fearfully, I walked out of the kitchen and went to them.
Are you crazy? How could you do such things about your sister?
I'm so disappointed in you. How can you be such a hater? She's your sister. They're your siblings. I can't believe you.
I had no idea what they'd told my parents. Jake lied. I didn't say anything about them to anyone. He's lying against me. My tears and pleas weren't enough to save my ass from getting whooped. Jake held me while my parents hit me, and Penny stood away from us, smiling happily. They were cruel to me, but I couldn't hate them. I couldn't bring myself to hate them. I kept my distance and only spoke when spoken to. Jake and Penny didn't stop taunting me. Whenever my parents weren't home, they would insult me and follow me around, annoying me in any way possible and daring me to respond. Of course, I never did. I knew too well then to say anything. Responding would only mean getting whooped by my parents who never listened to me. Time passed, and I was soon done with high school. On my graduation day, Jake had an event in college. My parents chose to attend his event and ditched my graduation.
It's just a party. Jake's event is more important. He makes us proud.
I'd rather be at his event than be at your graduation when you won't even be announced as the best graduating student. It's too embarrassing.
Of course, I felt bad. Regardless, I enjoyed my graduation. I didn't speak to anyone, but I felt good being among the students. I had to stay at home for 1 year because my parents didn't feel the need to send me to college yet. Since they hastened my sister's education, she graduated 1 year after I did. My brother had skipped class that day to attend her graduation. My sister wasn't the best graduating students, but anyone could see the pride smiles on their faces as they clapped and yelled out congratulations to her. I cried a little when I went to the restroom. That night, when we arrived home, my parents gifted her a very beautiful necklace. I hadn't gotten anything. She shoved it in my face, telling me how she was our parents' favorite and how they loved her more. My parents heard all of that and simply laughed about it. 1 week later, Penny suddenly cried from her bedroom.
Someone has stolen my necklace.
The whole house went into panic as we began looking around for the necklace. Jake suddenly suggested for everyone's rooms to be checked. I didn't have any opposition. However, shock froze me as the necklace was found in my room, in one of my drawers.
You steal now, Sally? Where did I go wrong with you?
I can't take this. I can't raise a thief. You're leaving my house today.
I cried and went on my knees, begging them desperately to not send me out. I'm not a thief. I didn't take her necklace. Believe me. Please. Don't send me out. My pleas fell on deaf ears. Jake threw my things out and urged my parents to let me go. Of course, they weren't unwilling. I was sent out of my parents' home. They took my credit card and all the cash I had, leaving me stranded. It was a tough period for me. I roamed around streets, begging for money from anyone I came across. A few were kind enough to give me, but others simply shamed and pushed me away. Luckily, a good Samaritan found me and helped me. I told her all about what happened, and she felt so bad for me. She took me to her home and helped me with a job. After 2 years of doing multiple jobs and saving up enough money, I was able to move out and get my own apartment. The lady had become like a mother to me. I'd grown to love her so much. Life was tough, but I didn't give up. I worked so much harder. I was also able to begin my college education. After 4 years, at age 26, I started my fashion company. I hadn't heard about my parents' business for years, but I didn't care. I worked so hard to grow my company. Fortunately for me, people soon began showing massive interest in my brand. Soon, big brands began seeking collaboration with me. Life was beginning to go smoothly. By the time I was 28, I'd become one of the young rich ladies in the country. My business largely expanded with branches in 5 different countries. I built 2 houses. The kind lady who assisted me lived in one with her husband and children. We were all like a family. Surprisingly, my parents and siblings showed up in my house one day. Jake was on a wheelchair and Penny was heavily pregnant. My parents looked so old and tattered. They were seeking help from me. Jake had been rendered crippled in jail after a failed robbery attempt. Penny had gotten a great job, but had been scammed by her ex-boyfriend who'd pretended to be an investor. He'd not only scammed Penny, but also my parents. They'd already gone broke after spending a lot to bail Jake and have him treated. After Penny's ex-boyfriend absconded with their remaining wealth, they were reduced to church rats. They lived on the streets and fed by begging people. It was exciting to see them suffering. Perhaps it was karma for what they did to me, for all the trauma they gave me, the years I had to live with constant panic attacks, the sadness I felt, everything. They begged for money and a place to live, but I refused them. I would rather burn my money to ashes than help you all with anything. Get out of my house and don't let me ever see you again. They continued begging, my parents in tears, but I refused. I called on my guards who threw them out of my house. They were unfair to me throughout my life and never regarded me as their child. I don't have any reason to treat them well. Tit for tat. A few months later, I heard Penny had died during childbirth, and the news of her passing had caused my dad to have a heart attack, and he died as well. So my mom now takes care of my crippled brother, and she cleans people's houses to make a living. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below saying I subscribed, and we will try our best to reply to your comment.